All right. Um, all right, looks like we're operating here. All right, welcome everyone. My name is George O'Neill. I'm the chair of the Inland Wetlands Commission, Town of Thompson. We're going to use Zoom now that it's operational as it's a technical platform which I think everyone at this point is familiar with. Presenters, please turn on your cameras and mics when you are presenting. For the citizens, there'll be two sections that are where you can make comments, item D and item I on the agenda, with the as well as the basic deportment throughout any meeting. If you're out of order, I'll call you out of order and ask the host to mute you if you can't stay civil. And with further ado, let's go forward. This meeting is being called to order at 7:30 p.m. on October 17th, 2023. The roll call: Commissioner Obert.
Present.
Commissioner Chapin.
Present.
Commissioner Morano.
Present.
George O'Neill, Chair, present. I see our Inland Wetlands agent, Mr. Morano, Dan Mallow, is present, and I see Gloria is present. Let's go on to the next item. There are no alternates, so we won't have any appointments. Any action or recommendations on the prior meeting minutes? Okay. So if there's no objection, we can accept the minutes as filed. Minutes of September 12th, 2023. I'm going to slip right past them quickly. Okay, citizens' comment on agenda items. Ms. Clark, I see your hands raised. The chair recognizes Valerie Clark.
Valerie Clark, Alm Road. A couple of things. One is that when I looked at the minutes last week, it didn't say when your next meeting was going to be. And so I spent time trying to figure out why I couldn't log in last week to your meeting. And I'd recommend that the meeting minutes note what the next planned meeting is, especially if it's not a regularly scheduled date. And then the second item is that I just came from the Selectmen's Zoom meeting, and I have requested multiple times that we put back in place as a town a rule that I recall being in place several years ago, in which meetings for the town were not allowed to overlap each other. And so a meeting such as this one shouldn't have been scheduled on the date of a Board of Selectmen meeting. I'm told that that is not a rule that anyone remembers, but I've been on the Agriculture Commission since its inception. And the reason we meet on the 5th Wednesday of the month, which originally was a joke but turned out to work out right, was because we couldn't find a meeting date that didn't conflict with the other meetings, and we were under a mandate to not have conflicting meetings. It's very hard to participate in town government if you can't attend the meetings because there are multiples going on. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Clark. Any other citizen comments?
Can I answer that as a citizen?
Commissioner Obert, yeah, chairs recognize Commissioner Obert as a citizen.
Thank you.
Comment
I'm glad
only.
that Ms. Clark raised those points. My recollection, because I also was looking for the meeting last Tuesday, but I looked at the calendar, I saw, oh, well, we must have made a decision that it was going to be a holiday weekend. And if we made those changes, they were submitted to the Secretary of State and then put online. So evidently it was correctly, I found it listed on tonight's date just by looking back at the calendar. Wasn't easy to find. And I didn't even factor in that it was going to conflict with the Board of Selectmen meeting. I just remembered that it was because of the holiday that we changed it. And probably because of Marla and Dan making the change of the baton, we missed that one. But she's right.
Thank you, Mr. Obert. All right. Any other citizens' comments? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to the next item, which will be agenda item E, old applications. Here we have WAA 23018, Gary Rawson, Zero Lodge Road, Assessors Map 141, Block 17, Lot 181R. Construct new single-family home, stamped receive on 8/14/23, under review. Dan, what's the status of this application?
Still awaiting NDDH approval. It might be off our plate pretty soon if Mr. Rawson doesn't submit or get us the documentation. I know it's been on our agenda for a while.
All right, so from a commission standpoint, there's no action we can take because we don't have all the documents aren't in, correct? All right, no further action on that. Next application would be WAA 23020, Maximilian Candidus, 0 Sandam Road, Assessors Map 135, Block 22, Lot 17. New house within 100-foot upland review area, stamped received on 8/30/23, approved on 9/13/23. Legal notice published 9/22/23. End of appeal period is 10/6/23, which clearly is passed. Dan, where does this stand? Dan, you're on mute.
Yep. Off the table, off of the agenda after tonight's meeting. I published this on the agenda, just that the action on the decision came after our last meeting.
All right, so the decision was made to approve this?
Yes. And Marla authored the approval on the next slide.
Okay, so wetlands agent approval was made. Commissioners, any question regarding the inland wetlands agent approval for this application? All right, hearing none, I'm moving on to the next application. WAA 23022, Town of Thompson, 255 Buckley Hill Road, Assessors Map 83, Block 49, Lot 6. Salt storage facility within 100-foot upland review area for Stroud Brook and associated wetlands, stamped received on 9/6/23, approved 10/10/23, legal notice to be published 10/20/23, end of appeal period is 11/4/23.
So I've authored my approval for this item that was before the commission last month, the salt shed. And it's due to be published in this week's Villager, and the appeal period will run into November.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for our inland wetlands agent regarding this matter? Okay, hearing none, moving on to the next application. There's your so this was approved. Okay, there was the approval. IWA 23024, Eastwood Thompson 49 LLC, 0 Riverside Drive, Assessors Map 61, Block 88, Lot 16. Construction of that ballasted PV solar array, stamped received on 9/11/23. I understand that there was some commissioners did look at the site. Could you give us an update on that, Dan?
Charlie and I walked the site this past Saturday with Dave Held. We did a loop around the property, starting in the northern corner of essentially the water tower, behind the water tower. We walked past pits that were dry, rusted trash, lots of slag all over the area, charcoal type material on the ground. There were some deer stands. We kind of walked about 2 acres of where the projected solar field is proposed, and it's a relatively flat location where the solar field is proposed. I've got a notes in front of me for that one. If Charlie has any observations he'd like to share.
Before we, if I could, before we go that far, from a commission standpoint, when do we have to vote? Do we have to pass a determination on this?
So we officially received it at our last meeting. It was an application that came after the agenda was published. I believe we can take action on it tonight, or we can continue our review to the next month if
Okay. Right. I just want to clarify that if we had a time sensitive issue here. So Commissioner Obert, I'm sorry to interrupt on you there.
Yes,
So
no.
go ahead, please. And I do apologize for not attending that walk. Unfortunately, I was traveling on business in Texas and down in Houston, Dallas, and my plane didn't get in until the wee hours of Saturday morning, and I just wasn't in any condition to go on a site walk.
Better you than me. I've done that stuff. Oh.
So go ahead, Commissioner.
All right. Yeah, Dan and I met, and then David showed up, and we looked at the site drawings, and then walked off into the woods. I was amazed at the trails up there. I commented that I've been in state parks that don't have trails that good, but I don't know anything about why the trails are there or who maintains them, but I do know that the area where they want to put in these solar panels, there's some trees that they're going to have to cut down, but a lot of the trees in that area are distressed. But it really doesn't look like it's going to be any kind of an impact on the wetlands. The next one that's coming up might be, but this one seems like a fairly benign encroachment into that area.
Thank you, Commissioner Obert. I see we have Mr. Held here. Do you have a comment? Would you like to be recognized, or you're just observing?
Well, just observing at this point. I mean, I don't have anything incredible to present this evening. We did submit some revised plans, which mainly addressed zoning comments. We do have the special permit application running concurrently with this. And if you want, I can go over the revisions that may affect or answer some questions that you might have in regard to wetlands.
I think commissioners would find it interesting, Mr. Held, if you could address issues that may impact the wetlands based on your revisions. As
sure.
You know, pertinent.
Dan had asked me if I would be able to share my screens so you could see.
Let me do that somehow. Let me see if I can find my screen share.
And George, while you're doing that, this is Commissioner Chapin.
Sure.
I just have a question about protocol. So I don't know if I missed it, as far as the meeting on the 14th, but I didn't actually read that email until after the date had passed, because my town email doesn't forward to anything. I have to go in and look for it. So anyway, when there is one commissioner, A, was that published, and B, when there's one commissioner and a person with interest in the site, is that normal? I mean, I know that all of us have gone out with Marla to check on updates and stuff like that, but so I just don't know where the line falls of what's a special meeting.
Right. I believe we've got we didn't have more than one commissioner, so it was more of a site walk, right? It didn't constitute a meeting.
This was noticed as a special meeting site walk. However, it was not an official meeting because we only had one member of the commission in attendance.
Okay, but the notice was published.
Yes.
For the public.
On the website.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Held, I did release the share button here.
Okay.
And let's see if it works. And I'm new to being the host. Amy's trusted me with the button, so I'm trying to get it working.
Yeah, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
It's not working?
No.
Okay, let me try it again here.
David, I believe it says the host has disabled it.
I've disabled it. Mine. Go to the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
Look for the green button that says screen share and hit it.
On the middle of the bottom.
Yeah, mine.
Yeah.
You see it?
Yeah. So the host has disabled participant screen sharing, so I can't screen share.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's try that. How's that one? Does that work?
There we go.
Sorry, I'm
That's
I'm
okay.
in training. I'm getting my certification here. I'll
Okay,
figure
are
it
you
out.
all able to see that?
There it is. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the overall plan. There's really nothing new with this. We have slightly changed the array layout, and that's because we've selected a specific ballasted racking system. And that's what I want to focus on, and that's the last sheet and plan set here. So these,
Turn it down.
these are the ballasted racks, and you can actually see some real life examples of how these things work. It's a high density polyethylene plastic tub, and it's filled with crushed stone or gravel, which provides the weight for the ballast. And then the solar panels actually clip on to these tubs, and that's how they're held in place. So there's no ground disturbance with the system. And you'll see in this picture here, and also in this picture here, the way these things are laid out, you basically put down about a 6-inch thick layer of crushed stone, which you can use to fine tune and level the tubs themselves. And you do that under each row. So these things are spaced with about 3 feet in between them. And then you've got the ballast and the panels, which is about another 3 feet. So what you essentially end up with is 6 feet on center, you have a crushed stone check dam, which filters your stormwater coming off of the array site. And it acts as a level spreader also. So you have zero propensity for concentrated stormwater flows. And while vegetation is being established, you also have, I don't know exactly how many rows there are there, but there's probably 100 to 150 stone check dams that any stormwater actually has to pass through before it would reach the perimeter silt fence or hay bales. So not only is this a very low land impact racking system, but you get the added benefit of very good stormwater control, both temporary and permanent. So that's really the only change that may impact your thought process with regard to wetlands. The array limits are essentially the same as what they were before, a little bit of fine tuning just to accommodate the specific racking here, but all the other changes are with regard to zoning issues. But I thought that might be of interest because stormwater and solar arrays can sometimes be a questionable mix if things aren't done carefully.
Okay. Thank you for that. Commissioners, any specific questions for Mr. Held? All right. I guess you can unshare that screen. Yeah, I've got the same exhibit here. I can put it up. Oops, there we go. Let's try this again. You should see the same exhibit.
Yes.
All right, got it. So, Dan, from an inland wetland standpoint, and having walked the site, do you have any insight for us as to a recommendation on this and the impact it may have on the wetlands? It's already obviously been in other committees. You're on mute.
Well, I think it's a good design. It intends to minimize any direct outfall to the wetlands through this check dam system. I believe they're at a good height where they'll vegetate over and not impede any amphibian traffic or anything like that. I don't really have much in the further comment toward it. It is in proximity to the backwater brook. People do use the area to hunt, but that's you know, the hunting situation is a concern of the property owner. The future project, as Charlie hinted at, might be a bit more complex and with its intensity than this proposes. But this is the application we're reviewing tonight.
Okay. Great, thank you. Yeah, Commissioner Obert?
Yes, there's going to need to be a fence put around this, I understand, like any power station. When Dan made a comment about amphibians, though, that shouldn't be a factor. They should be able to get underneath it. It's to keep people and maybe deer out, animals that might run into the wires.
Yeah, that's not a wetlands issue so much as a
No.
life safety issue. Yeah.
And that's why I believe this is submitted as for a wetland agent approval.
Okay. So this is as a wetland agent approval, and
Yeah, I'm not 100% clear on where the line divides, but I don't see that it should be a problem either way.
To correct the record, we've received this as an individual permit application.
oh, so it isn't. So we have to vote on it then. Dan, that's correct?
Yes, it would be an action for the commission.
All right. So does any commissioner have any reservations or concerns or would like to voice them? If not, do we have a motion to approve this application?
I'll move to approve IWA 23024, Eastwood Thompson 49 LLC, Riverside Drive, Assessor's Map 61, Block 88, Lot 16, for the construction of the solar array.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion, we'll go to a vote, and I'll just roll call vote. Commissioner Obert? Commissioner Chapin?
Aye.
Commissioner Memorano?
Aye.
Okay, Chair, aye. We have a unanimous vote. The application is approved, and we'll take the appropriate paperwork. Let me know when it's ready, Dan. I'll come over and sign it, all right? Thank you, Mr. Held, for your comments, and we'll move on to the next item.
Thank you.
Let me get past this stuff. I was at an insurance conference this last week, and there's a lot of discussion about hail impact and what it can do to PV arrays. But I guess that's why they buy insurance. Agenda item. Okay, next new application is WAA 23025, Kevin Calabro, 117 New Road, Assessor's Map 116, Block 24, Lot 26. Irrigation system to establish lawn within 100-foot upland review area, stamped received on 9/18/23, approved 10/2/23, legal notice published on 10/13/23. End of appeal period is 10/27/23. Dan, what do you have for us on this?
So this came in after the last meeting. Mr. Calabro is looking to establish a lawn and ground cover on his, which is kind of a dirt field. This property has been on the commission's plate recently in the past couple of years for drainage situation. This is a wetlands agent approval. It's pretty straightforward. He'll be laying down this tube. Blue demonstrates 3/4 inch piping on a plan. And I authored my approval for that. And it's still, I believe, in its appeal period.
Okay, so you've made approval already as a agent approval, and you went to. Did you go to this site?
I've been to the site many times with Marla, not for this particular, but I will be visiting the site to check on how the raging river on the driveway is going, and to verify that he's done this project according to this plan presented.
Okay, I guess I was more curious about that other work, but you'll give a report to that at the next meeting. Commissioners, any questions for our for Dan Mallow regarding this in the wetlands agent approval for our irrigation system.
I have a question.
Commissioner Obert.
It's more general about the entire history of the property. When I saw that it came up on the agenda, I thought it was good timing because I hadn't heard how they had been progressing on their attempts to solve that shared problem up there on the hillside. So when Dan said he was going to be going out to see how this project is falling in line, I'm also interested and perhaps could go out with him when he goes to look at it.
Sure.
That property has been one mystery after another to me.
Well, we found solutions apparently, and making progress, it sounds like. All right. If there's no further questions for the inland wetlands agent, let's move on to the next item. Okay, we've got new applications. DEC 23026, Little Pond Improvement Association, Inc., Sandam Road, Assessors Map 116, Block 24, Lot 26, annual clearing of debris from 5 Mile River, riverbed, and culverts between Little Pond and East Thompson Road, stamped received on 9/18/23. And there was, in the documents that were submitted, there was some commentary on this. But Dan, want to give us an overview for the benefit of the commissioners and those present?
Sure. So the Little Pond Association has been doing this type of cleanup for years. And this year they had advertised it a month or so back to recruit help to do this debris cleaning. And it raised some questions regarding permitting and if this has all been conducted and with the town's awareness. So the Little Pond Association is seeking a declaratory ruling from the commission to be able to engage in annual maintenance. And it's confined to an area that's located on Wyndham Land Trust property. They have the permission of the land trust to engage in this activity. They've already done their project for this year, and this is after the fact. But I believe the language of their request is that this is for future cleanings.
Okay, thank you. From an inland wetland standpoint, if I could ask, is this something that's beneficial to the Little Pond and the aquatic life as well as the wetlands as a whole, or is this something that should be discouraged?
I mean, I don't have the ecological awareness that that some people might have on this project. To me, I think they're doing it for the best intentions of the environment. I have been informed that they are aware of a need for delicacy with some of the invasives that they're removing, so that they're removed appropriately and don't cause problems downstream.
Okay, so is this something that's usual and customary for similarly situated properties? Like if you have such streams and routine practice, or is this a atypical situation that's never done? And would you say, in your experience? You're the subject matter expert here.
So I'm not used to receiving a permit for such activity. Okay. I haven't faced an application like this in Thompson yet. In Woodstock, the regs are different, but it's such a similar case that they would propose this to the commission, and the commission would either say, yes, this is a use permitted as a right for any number of reasons that are most applicable. This is, I believe, for the benefit. The debris poses challenges further in Little Pond, and I have no objection to this. To me, I would say this is routine, but I haven't worked long enough with Thompson and those. Usually, an application like this is brought by an association, and that's typical. This follows that typical routine. But I don't see this as an activity that requires a permit.
Okay.
Got
it. So you really say it falls in the category of more of a use permitted as right and usual and customary to maintain water courses, to maintain free flow of water from Little Pond to the adjoining 5 Mile River and other inland waterways, right?
Yes.
That's how I read it. Great. Commissioners, I know I took the mic a bit ahead of you, but anyone have any questions for, I see Commissioner Obert, here
Yes.
recognizes Commissioner Obert.
I read this as a request of the neighbors to volunteer to help clean out the culverts. Isn't that what it said? But they want to clear away materials that are could be causing backup of the it says culverts, yeah, clear debris from 5 Mile River bed and culverts. If they want to volunteer to do it, I don't have any problem with it.
Great.
They should be careful not to stir up a lot of mud, and they should be careful with invasives, as Dan said. If they're going to rip them out, then cut them up and burn them or something. But a lot of heavy rains these days, and we've had a lot of it this summer, so maybe they're seeing something that they didn't before. But I think Dan's right. I don't really believe that they needed to file any kind of request for permission from us.
Okay. Sounds like out of an abundance of caution, the group did. I know that perhaps there were some citizens that were concerned and may have called into the office. Go ahead.
Wouldn't be a bad idea to have this on file because,
Sure.
It's a more proper way to do things.
Great.
Forensic evidence.
Yeah, and certainly many citizens may not be aware that such activities may very well be uses permitted by right, so that this way it memorializes and formalizes that process. So that's a plus. Well, Dan, I appreciate your insight on this, and Commissioner Obert, I thank you for your questions. Other commissioners, if no further questions, we'll move on to the next item. All right, hearing none. Let me just move on here, click through. All right, new application is SUB 23027, John Camilio, 597 East Thompson Road, Assessors Map 154, Block 5, Lot 10. 3-lot subdivision within 100-foot upland review area, stamped received on 10/4/23. Dan, could you give us an overview of this? And I see we've got some representatives of the applicant tuning in, so maybe you can give us a start and then we can move on to the applicant.
So I haven't been able to put too much review into this. It's pretty new. So this is a 3-lot subdivision in an area in East Thompson over by New Road. The 5 Mile River flows through this property. It's the subject of a previous approval, and the applicant seeking to, there's an existing home. Applicant seeking to carve off 2 additional lots that use the existing driveway, which crosses the wetlands. And there's existing utilities in that along that driveway. So there was some question about the fee that's appropriate for this and what the commission was working on and updating its fee schedule. And I didn't know where that was at in terms of progress or process. And my read of the application form at the time, it made sense to take a certain fee that Janet informed her client of, and they paid. But in a strict read of the current regulation, additional fees for the subdivision application were supposed to be incurred. Janet has, will probably speak to a waiver or reduction request from the official
Okay.
total fee amount. But additionally, there are two wetlands agent approval applications that I accepted along with this, with the intention of having them wait until these lots became official. And then they could be reviewed by the wetlands agent. Marla suggested that we should have these lots official before we had received our wetlands agent approval applications. Though our regs are also working towards economization of that process. And I believe Janet has also will speak to the request to
Okay.
alter our process with this.
Great.
I sent those to members by email this afternoon.
All right. So, so if I understand what you said, there's some of the information still coming in, that there's some issues of finance costs for the application, as well as consolidation of approvals, or there's in the wetlands agent approval as well as commission approval. Is that a fair summary, Dan?
Yes. The fee, the difference in money is quite a bit, but I don't know if that price is necessarily fair for what it takes to review these types of applications.
Well, I guess the commission will have to decide, right? Okay.
But
Anything else that we should be aware of? I can see maybe we can hear from their subject matter expert on this. Ms. Blanchette, would you like to be recognized by the chair?
Yes, please. I'm Janet Blanchette from J&D Civil Engineers, representing the property owner and applicant, Mr. Jack Camilio. This application was just submitted. We don't have our NDDH approvals yet. We're not expecting any type of action this month, but if it's all right with the commission, I wouldn't mind, summarizing what's proposed so that you can, think about it and familiarize yourself with the project.
Yes.
I think what I'll try to do for next month is have the colored plans. I'll try to share my screen because the colored plans just look so much better that I have than the black and white ones that we're looking at together. But if we could just start with the cover sheet, your Zoom page, Zoom 57. Your
Right.
sheet, Zoom 57.
You can pull up, Janet, if you would like, you could pull up your screen. I made it.
Unfortunately,
you don't have it?
The laptop I have right now isn't connected to my server, and I didn't think to put it on a thumb drive.
No worries. Let me just go back to my share. I'll just put it back up here. I was going to switch over to you, but let me just put it back up.
I'll try to do that next month.
No worries. Yeah, color is, we're visual. So here's the initial over the site, the orientation map, I guess, situs map.
Right. And I think the commission members, because of the previous application, there was an application approved for a house, but I also believe this was the property where there was an application that was withdrawn to create some large pond for gravel excavation.
Right.
So that's this same property. So none of that is proposed. It's just a 3-lot subdivision. So if you wouldn't mind advancing to the next page, Mr. Chairman, 58. So this shows the property, the area that I see mostly hatched. The darker hatch is just easement. It's access and utility easement, because these 3 lots will share the existing substantial driveway that was put in when the property was gravelled. That was, your highlighting was perfect, Mr. Chairman.
Right.
So the existing house is one of the lots. It's at the south right there. And then there's 2 proposed lots basically on either side of the middle access road. And that's one of them. That's a 19-acre lot. And the one you just circled is a 3-acre lot. So it's 30 acres total. And if you wouldn't mind, and there's significant 100-year flood zone on this property, but we're not proposing work in it. And that's one of the lighter hatches On my screen that I'm seeing right now, I don't really see it show up that well, but next month I'll make sure we can see that 100-year flood.
Okay, these are the dash here. Let me just try to get my highlighter out a bit. So this is our, whoops, that's the wrong one.
Perhaps if we go to the next,
That
that's
the
the actual the
Oh, here it
wetlands is the dash dot.
Is this
That's
our
the 100-year,
flood zone?
yes.
The flood zone A.
Flood zone A, and that's basically, that's, the new one that recently became effective in
Okay,
September.
here it is. Oh, they're overlapping. Yeah, it's sort of
Right.
a interesting patchwork we have here. All right.
So
The
if
next,
we,
you want the next slide? Okay, we'll try to move on here.
sure, if you could go.
Which slide do you want?
This slide is fine. There's literally almost no work shown on this sheet because the driveway is existing. It's just a sheet that's shown to, show everybody the utility and access easement. It also shows the existing culvert over the 5 Mile River. There's no changes proposed to that. This is a nice wide driveway. So it basically just shows the site. So the next sheet, which is sheet 60 of the Zoom documents, these are the two new proposed house sites with septic systems. You can see the smaller lots on the left, the larger lot is on the right. And the lower lot at the bottom of the screen is all 100% existing. There's nothing proposed there. So what the owner would like to do is build another house for himself with the larger house on the right, and take advantage of the new subdivision regulations where they allow three houses to have a shared driveway or a common driveway. There's no work proposed in the wetlands on any of these lots, but there's some grading work within the 100-foot upland review area. Another thing that we're waiting for is the National Diversity Database review recommendation. When there's a freshwater mussel species in the 5 Mile River, so trying to maintain a riparian corridor and not allow sedimentation is important. I feel like this plan does a pretty good job of accomplishing that, because the larger lot, there's really no work whatsoever within even the longest length of the 5 Mile River within 100 feet. And the smaller lot on the left, there would be still a remaining riparian corridor between like 60 feet wide on the west to like 90 feet wide on the east. And there's a stone wall right where you just put your
Right.
line, Mr. Chairman. There's also a stone wall that separates the house site from the river. So,
Right.
to help prevent lawn encroachment or anything. So we haven't received that recommendation letter yet. So we'll be looking for that hopefully next month to hear from the health department and from the NDDB folks. So you see, now you can see kind of what the scope of the project is and the nature of the work in regards to wetlands. And so the interesting thing about the way your regulations are written, which is why we submitted a request to reduce the fee. And if this was a 2-lot subdivision, your fee would be $80. Since it is a 3-lot subdivision, your fee is $1,040. This is technically a 3-lot subdivision, but the 3rd lot is built. So the review of that, that the staff, the commission members and everything is basically focused on 2 lots. And we have concurrently with this application, because the owner is also going to be the builder, submitted agent approval applications, and they each had a fee. So total right now, the developer has about $500 into the town in fees, and that's spelled out specifically in the letter that I submitted. It was just today though, so that's why it's not in this packet. Okay. So maybe perhaps the commission can have an opportunity to review that letter and think about it, and make a decision. I mean, it's your decision. If the applicant has to provide $700 more of fees, then that's your decision. It just, it just seemed a little unusual to go from 80 to over $1,000.
Is it, can you see the letter?
Yes, that is the letter. So, Dan requested that I put that in writing, which is appropriate, and, the reasons for it. And I'm not sure a decision has to be made at this meeting, but I guess that's the
No.
commission's call or Dan's call.
Yeah, I guess on its face, Ms. Blanchett, the delta $700 or so is piques one's interest, right? But certainly your rationale you provided and the pre-existing assessment is certainly helpful in reviewing it. And I'm sure the commissioners will take under consideration that request. I know that I want to say everyone was at the site walk on the prior application, so they have some feeling for the proximity and environmental how it's constructed, right? The 5 Mile River. There's your application. So I believe the commissioners received this by email from our agent, but need to absorb it in the context of, I'm just going to get rid of this now. All right. Anything else that we should be aware of, Ms. Blanchett? Next month, I'm sure you can have color, which will help us with highlighting the issues. And
Yes, I'll make sure I have it accessible on the laptop I'm using.
great. Commissioners, any questions for
I have a question on the issue in general.
Commissioner Obert? Yes, recognizes.
Yes, Charlie Obert. I don't know why there was such a jump between 2 lots and 3. I don't know what pushed that decision because I wasn't involved in it. I do remember that this is a very important environmental area because the 2 brooks come together, and that there are items too in the DH diversity, the freshwater mussels and some sort of a zooplankton, which is like seaweed or moss or something. Personally, I have no reason to go address it tonight. I guess we have time in the future. I think that we need to find out why there was such a dramatic jump in the availabilied. And this is a sensitive area. I wouldn't want to rush any studies on it, how this proposed project could impact the area. So definitely we're going to have site walks and more information. But I thought that I would raise that.
Thank you, Commissioner Obert. Any other commissioners have questions or comments for Ms. Blanchett, or comments about the observations? Right.
It's Commissioner Chapin. I just was
Chapin.
going to say, I don't believe I've ever been on a site walk at this property.
Okay.
Might predate me, or maybe I wasn't in attendance.
Yeah, we had quite a group, I believe, if I recall correctly.
It was. This property had been assigned to the town as a conservation easement on a big job that was graveling in the area, and when it came time to accept it, the Just Say No crowd said no, and then it showed us how much they were going to punish the former landowner because he sold it. And it's a little gold mine up there, but somebody sure did show them.
Okay, if no further questions for Ms. Blanchett, or no further comments by commissioners, I guess we'll move on to the next item. Thank you, Ms. Blanchett, for your insight, and we look forward to hearing from you at the next meeting. And if there's any site walks needed, we should, if this is one of them, then the commissioners that aren't familiar with the location, you need to coordinate with Dan Mallow, and we could set up a site walk. All right, thank you. Moving on. get through this. Next item is WAA 23028. John, these are all interdependent, right? Do we need to restate all this?
Um,
Mr. Blanchett, Chair recognizes Janet Blanchett of JD Engineering.
I'm not going to reiterate the what I said previously, but if you could, essentially, the owner is the same as the developer. So as soon as he doesn't only want a conceptual subdivision approval, he wants to, you know, be able to, when the project is done, to be able to have his permit to be able to do the work to construct the houses. And it's interesting because that's the way the commission is moving, is my understanding, to eliminate conceptual subdivision approvals and have the subdivision approval be individual, so that what you're seeing on a plan is actually permitted. So essentially that's what we're asking, but we know that you have to approve the subdivision first. So we requested a 60-day extension so that you don't even need to look at these agent approvals until you've thoroughly gotten a chance to, you know, review the subdivision.
Right, so you don't have a subdivision approval yet, and these therefore would be premature, is what you're saying. Therefore, you're asking us for a 60-day extension. Is that how I understand it?
Correct, but it is the same plan, just so that you know, understand. It's this, the last two sheets of the whole set of the subdivision are the WAA plans. They would be sheets 62 and 63 of the Zoom documents. Yeah, these are the final design engineered septic system plans of the two lots that have new houses proposed on them.
All right, so we don't have an approval for a subdivision yet we're coming for an approval in the Wetlands Commission on a subdivision yet to be approved. So do I understand you're requesting on behalf of your client an extension for review?
Yes, because we understand that the conceptual subdivision approval certainly needs to come before any action on these permits, but we wanted you to see it all at the same time, right, and not
piecemeal. Yeah. So, Commissioner Obert?
This gives us the time we need to find out why the fee structure is set up the way that it is. And not only are our ordinance and regulations, bylaws changing, but planning and zoning is too. And, you know, this is the first time that this issue's come up that I'm aware of, certainly in wetland, but it is, as Janet points out, because of the change in ordinance for zoning. Now it's possible for 3 houses to be in that area as long as they can meet the Department of Health.
Right.
Water and septic.
So, Dan, do we require it sounds like we've got a request for an extension. Do we need to, in order to formalize that, do we just need to have it in writing? Have we have that already? And requesting an extension beyond the normal, 60 days that we have? You're making 120 days?
The request has to be in writing. And I was in the process of researching if that's by vote of the commission.
Yeah, I submitted a letter requesting a 60-day extension via email today.
That was separate and apart from your October 17th, that letter, right?
Correct. It was a second letter.
Okay. I don't know if I have that one, but
George, it should be 2 pages on the same PDF.
All right, let's, well, these are, let me see what I have. On the same PDF. Oh, there's 2 pages here. Okay, here's the second one. All right, here we go. Here it is. This is today. This is the one, everyone see it? It says the understands the conceptual subdivision be granted prior to any action. 60-day time extension process. The applications commission needs that time. All right. Well, how do the commissioners feel on this? Do we have any objections to permitting an extension? Commissioner Chapin?
I don't have any objection. I think it would work to our benefit to have a longer timeline on this, since since this has been, received a little prematurely, so to speak.
Right, yeah, it's sort of you're out ahead of your skis a bit.
I have
Usually,
no objection.
okay, I hear no objections, Commissioner Obert.
No, we have to let this process unfold because this is the first time it came up and there's confusion, and I'm
Right.
glad that the developer is willing to be flexible.
Do we have need a vote on this then? You have a motion? No? Well, by your statements, you've just made the affirmative statement that we all in agreement, so I need further discussion on the point. If not, then we'll accept the letter as a request for extension and approve that extension. And if we need further vote on it, we're within our time frames to do that if needed. They'll give Dan a chance to research it. So I guess in principle, we've granted the extension, Ms. Blanchette, and thank you for the clarification. All right, let me move this out of here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's move on to the next item. Oops. Okay, these are all the same. These are all the same matter, right? And so I don't need, these are wetland agent approvals. We've already discussed this, so I'm not going to belabor it further. You've notified the butters, and there's some commentary here. And this is the third piece of it. Okay. I'm not going to reread this either. So we have WAA 23030, Joseph and Diane. Or is it quick? Someone's gonna have to help me with that. 76 Jazirki Lane, Assessors Map 116, Block X, Lot J through Z. Retaining wall and stairs within 100-foot upland review area. Stamp received on 10/3/23 under review. What do we have on that, Dan?
So,
There's a wetland agent approval.
yep, I haven't been able to do any review of that as yet, but I've included the drawing provided. They have a narrative. They are I don't know if they would like to speak to it.
Okay, Mr. Ryblecki, is that correct? I'm not. Maybe you could help me with that.
Prisbelic.
Rebellic. Okay,
you.
well, shows you what I don't know, but thank you so much. And sorry for the mispronunciation. If you'd like to
Oh, no
speak to the
problem.
commission, and address what you're doing, maybe it'll help everyone.
So in this photo, the house is an existing home. We want to put a retaining wall. I think it will be two pieces.
Yeah.
Right here on the corner. It's eroding.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then we'll put stairs up to access. See how it's a hill there.
So if you look at the top photo right there, you can see there's about 4 stairs.
Right.
We're gonna eliminate those and put in new stone stairs going up to the top. And then just to the left of those stairs, all of that is, all of that is kind of eroding there. So we're gonna put up a couple of retaining walls to kind of stop when it rains really hard from washing into Little Pond, which is where we live on.
So the retaining walls you're going to put down here for this?
No, it would
No?
be to the right of where the gutter is.
Right over here?
Right against that, right against that.
It's gotta be
hill.
over here. Is that the same gutter?
Yeah, no, if you go back to the stairs again, I think that picture would show it better.
Okay, let me just do that. Get my clicker going here. Okay,
Yeah, so you
there it
can
is,
see
yeah.
where the squiggly lines are with the wall.
got it.
It's an approximation. So he said 2 pieces. I'm gonna guesstimate 7 to 10 feet, maybe long, 2 or 3 feet high.
Okay.
And
Right.
approximately, he said 8 stairs.
Okay, so you're just gonna go in here and put these in to stabilize that, make it safer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the stairs that are there will be replaced with, they'll be all the same. It will be like, that Teco block.
Okay, this is gonna be a wall, vertical wall here.
It's gonna be 2 walls, so a
Oh,
piece
2.
and then
One
a
here
second piece, because
and
the
up
hill is
here.
so, it's so sloped right there. But
This is gonna be
if you could
level.
see to the right of the gutter, we're losing like, the water just runs down the side of the hill there and it's cutting out the grass.
Okay,
And then we live on the pond, so this area at the bottom is where we had said erosion control, that's our wall. Before the
So
water.
we're probably 25 feet or so away from the water where this would be, where any work would be done.
sure. Dan, do you think this proposed work is going to impact negatively the inland wetlands in the town of Thompson?
Well, they're proposing ENS, silt fence and straw wattle. This is kind of a typical lakeside activity, generally use of enjoyment of the home. My question is, what type of equipment do you propose to use to do this work?
I think at best it would be a small, I mean, it's a small piece of small area. They couldn't really put much.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. They didn't mention that, so I don't know the answer to that question.
You mean like hand shoveling versus
equipment.
maybe
Yeah.
a small bobcat? Is that
Yeah.
what they are?
Yeah,
It's very hilly right there, so my guess is not anything too big.
the
Okay, so
wall, does it extend past that tree?
this wall here, yeah.
Yeah,
See if there's any of the photos.
So that's like a bad view. So the top picture, so the wall will be starting at the corner of the house. It will actually start at the concrete and go out. He said probably
Like
not
this?
more than 10 feet. I think it's gonna kind of,
yes, what the chairman has drawn there is my question.
oh, that wall.
Yeah,
That,
does
that's
that
all it-
does that continue as he's drawn it there?
that wall goes, yeah, that's a different wall, but that's our, that goes out to
About another 10 feet. So right where you see where your cursor
kayak.
is there's a kayak there. That's a 10-foot kayak. So it would
Oh,
go
here's a
past
kayak
those
here.
kayaks.
It's a
So
kayak,
that
okay.
wall along the lake, generally, it sequesters the area where you're gonna be working.
Yeah, exactly. That would be, the work would never get to that wall.
So the wall's about 3 feet high, and then the area, we also have another area where we keep the kayaks and our docks when we pull them in, it's 6 feet wide before you get to the water. So it's, yeah.
So Dan, you're going to be considering this and perhaps deciding what you're going to do with it after this. You don't have to be put on the spot. Certainly it's good to have you have a dialogue on the subject.
Absolutely. Yep, I'll probably pick it up on Thursday and pour over it a little bit more. But this is so wetlands agent approval. I can't take action on it. I think it's a typical lake community type of project, and they're not overly complicated. I think that they've got beyond their proposed erosion and sediment controls, that having that wall along the lake will keep any kind of limit their area of impact and keep the mess contained in a sense.
Commissioner Obert, I recognize your request here.
I see two black lines running horizontally that say wall beside them, and then another symbol and stairs. And I'm wondering if that distance between where it says wall and wall is going to be like a vertical and horizontal, like a large step. And even above that, George, is that area going to be a retention basin?
That's the impression we were given. I think
Yeah, so
these
the
are short
first
walls.
wall will be probably 4 feet. I don't really know the height. And then it would flatten out. And then another wall behind that to then kind of, because it's so steep there that we would have had to put like a 12-foot wall in. So to break it up, we're putting in two roughly 4-foot walls with a leveling area between the two.
All right, there has been, and I don't know all the details, but there has been a problem along that aquatic reservoir where somebody put in a wall that was not up to specifications and it caused problems. My recollection is that when a wall is to be put in those kinds of areas, that it needs to be stamped, that it really will not collapse in and cause a problem. And I'm not the expert on this, but I do think that it would behoove you to make sure of some of your numbers and expectations. 12-foot tall wall.
No,
No.
Two.
That's what we're saying. A 12-foot wall would be too big. So
that's why he divided it into two separate
This
walls.
is one, and then this is one, and they'll be separated
Correct.
this way.
exactly. So it would flatten, it would be one wall, then a flat area that you could sit on or whatever.
With the stairs.
Yeah, right there where you're pointing, and then
Right.
another wall, maybe 3 feet in to then go up.
So then again, stormwater is now going to have a horizontal ledge next to your project area. I don't know. I don't know enough about it,
Yeah.
but I think that it needs more explanation as to why this is the right step. Now, I didn't say that as a pun, but I mean the right solution to your problem.
So it sounds like a
And I would like it to be solved for you, and I'd like it to be solved as quickly and as cheaply as possible. But, you know, my memory works in that way. I said it was on the west side of the lake, almost down Aquatic Road, where somebody had property over there. O'Leary's, the landowner. Anyway, Dan might want to do some background check on that.
So
Well, I'll do the research and confer with peers.
good.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Commissioner Obert, for the insights, and I'm sure Dan Mello will explore the geophysical issues and make sure the retentions are appropriate drainage. I guess is expansion and drainage is what you run into on these things in winter and stuff. They bulge out, and then you get all sorts of things. All right, but I think Dan's got it in hand, and it's a commission. It's a in the wetlands agent approval, so I appreciate those additional additional guidance. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Probick, thank you so much for your insights, and I guess you'll need to talk directly with Dan Mallow, who hopefully will look at it soon.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Have a good one.
Moving on to the next one.
This is
Did I skip over it?
also a what?
Is that the same one? I didn't skip over, did I? Let's see. Applications. Is this
Nope.
item
We-
E?
We did skip one, George.
Yeah, I think I skipped one. I was looking for the tab though, and it doesn't seem to be there. Maybe I've got it too large. Hold on, let me just go out a bit. All right. There it is. Odette. Okay, sorry. Okay, item E, new applications, WAA 23031, Rich Odette, RTA Builders LLC, 33 Totem Pole Drive, Assessors Map 141, Block 17, Lot 60. Tear down house and rebuild within 100-foot upland review area. Stamped received on 10/5/23. Under review. Any comments? I know we have some documents here.
So this still, I'm awaiting their NDDH letter. And I have, I'm sorry, NDDB letter, and I have a couple questions regarding their NDDH sewer tie-in. This is a property where it started out, I think they were they were replacing the roof, and then they quickly found lots of structural problems with the property that necessitated a tear down. I still have a few questions. Is this house going to be a replica of what was there? But this is the plan depicting, we don't have it in color, but fortunately, square area running around the property boundary, and the aquatic reservoir depicts where their erosion and sediment controls will be placed, and the limit of disturbance is indicated by a zigzag line. They'll be removing materials that are excavated from the site. There won't be any stockpiling of any materials. But I have still plenty of questions that I'm going to be it's been a back and forth with Mr. Audette, but he's been everything I've asked for. As I've had a question, he's been able to present me more information. So I was able to discuss this one a little bit with Marla yesterday about what I would still need to conduct a thorough review, and it's going to be probably more like the end of next week before I offer my approvals, if it comes that soon.
Well, don't take your time to do it right. And it's
Sure.
The house has already been built, so we're not putting up a new house. We're just reforming an existing one. So I think you're from a footprint standpoint, there's that's already been, whatever, if there was damage, it's been done. We want to contain any future damage to the wetlands, which is what we're trying to take a look at. And seems like you've got all the important points identified. Just diligently review and vet them, and you decide whether it fits or not. Commissioners, any questions for Dan Mallow on this one? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the next. No items after agenda was published?
Nope.
Okay, good. Permit extensions and changes. Request to transfer the Matthew Tavernier IWA 21030 Sunnyside Drive, assessors map 113, block 1, lot 3. Construction of a driveway and septic for a new single-family home, portions of which are in wetlands, 100-foot upland review area, issued on 3/8/22 to Max Candidis. I think we took a site walk on this at one point, I believe.
Yes.
Didn't we?
Yes, and there's a Scrivener's error on this document. It should be permit IWA 21031.
Oh.
And Mr. Tavernier's request to transfer document was submitted to the office today, and I forwarded that to commissioners by email at around 4 o'clock, with accompanying Janet Blanchette's letter.
Right.
So this is at the end of the Sunnyside Drive. Mr. Candidis has shifted his forever home idea to a different property in town. And Mr. Tavernier is seeking to acquire the rights of this permit and transfer them to himself. IWA 21031.
So what are the technical components of a transfer? Is that are these readily transferable, or must we start from scratch?
They're transferable. That's why the form such as this exists. I haven't worked too much at all with a transfer of a permit. But I believe it's an action of the commission to approve the transfer.
All right. So here's the application. I pulled it up, which was sent to us this afternoon towards the close of business. And they can't do anything different than the original permit, right? Is that correct?
No, it's just what was approved, no modifications. Any modification to that would require a new permit. So our section 11-8 requires the written permission of the agency to transfer the permit.
And there are 4 conditions on the permit. So they're within the time. The permit was originally approved in March 22. There's a 5-year suspense, and they're supposed to notify us within 2 years of beginning of activity. 1 week prior to beginning of any regulated activities, and appropriate erosion control. So it doesn't seem like as if it's any major changes other than transfer of entities. I believe this gentleman came in, I remember we walked the site, it was so very cold. I didn't have enough insulation. It was in like February or something. And well, this was approved on March 8th, which would be on or about that time. And it had to do with there's a small cul-de-sac, and we walked through the woods, and there's the issue of wetlands, and then I recall the railroad track was in the distance. Commissioner,
Yes.
Those are the issues. Commissioner Obert, Chair recognizes Commissioner Obert.
Yes, thank you. I have some pretty strong memories of the process that went on around this application. One was that the site plan that was approved was a very tightly restricted because of those issues that George just mentioned. And it's wow, now party A says, yes, I'll do this, and party B says, yes, I'll do this, but I don't know exactly what this was. I think that it behooves us to take a look at the drawings that this person visions going in there.
Right.
And because it was a very, it was the first of a few very creatively placed projects that just snaked in and around the wetlands, and they fit, but there's no room for changing them.
Absolutely. My intention is to walk the site with Mr. Tavernier with the approved plan, confirm what he has as an approved plan, and hold him to that approval, and have him fully aware that any modification to that plan would have to come before the commission.
And this is Commissioner Chapin. This extent, or if we grant this permit to transfer, that would still be from the original time clock. Is that correct?
That's my read of that. Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't restart the 5-year clock.
Right. And so, I mean, for me personally, I don't see any reason not to do the transfer as long as he's held to the same design standard, everything that was in the original. If it's going to be altered, it needs to be a new application. But if he's just going to carry on what's already previously approved, to me, it makes sense to approve it, the transfer.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Chapin. So, Dan, is there an action required by the commission at this time, or you're going to advise that you're going to review it and advise us at the next meeting?
So our regs say the written permission of the commission. I think, is there a space on that form that is available for your signature, perhaps at the bottom?
There's one, the chairman's signature on the bottom of the first one. That's his application to transfer it.
Yep. So endorsing that, Mr. Chair, would transfer the permit.
All right. And when do we have to do this?
Not immediately. I asked him his timeline, and he was understanding that if it didn't get onto this month's meeting and got picked up at another meeting, he's not doing any work yet, or didn't have plans to accomplish this year.
Okay. So, I guess, does this require a vote of the commission?
I would err on the side of caution and request one.
All right, then why don't we do this? Because we've already defined the scope of the permit, and this is merely a transfer, administrative transfer. That being said, and if you're going to inform the new permittee of the limitations and restraints, and I think that would address our concerns. I know that there was a lot of issues. So do I have a motion to approve this application, the transfer?
I'll make the motion to transfer permit. Let me get where it is.
Yeah, let me find the original one here. I've got it on a different, hold on. There it is.
IWA
IWA
21030. Is that supposed to be 1?
031. It's correct, yeah.
One.
0 Sunnyside Drive, Assessors Map 113, Block 1, Lot 3. Construction of a driveway and septic for a new single-family home, portions of which are in wetlands, 100-foot upland review area issued 3/8/22 to Max Candidas, and it would be transferred to Matthew Tavernier.
And I have a motion. Do I have a second?
It's Commissioner Chapin. I'll second it.
A motion made and seconded. Do we have further discussion on this matter? All right, hearing none, I will call for a roll call vote. Commissioner Obert,
Aye.
Commissioner Chapin,
Yes, aye.
Commissioner Morano,
Aye.
Chair O'Neill, I approved. So the transfer was approved without objection and unanimously, and I'll stop over and sign this in due course. So thank you, commissioners. If Mr. Taverner is in, then we can convey it to him. Again, Dan, go over the issues so that he's aware. I know there's a lot of discussion around this whole matter when it first came up. All right, on to the next item. Permit. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No update on Mark Bear. And the same with Mr. Suduka's violation, though I've driven by it a few times when I go up to Worcester, and I've seen that retention area dry. I don't know if improvements were made, but I haven't seen water in the road recently regarding that one. But I intend to follow up with, I think Daniel Blanchette was working with that site plan, and that was his client. And I want to acquaint myself and see where that project is left off.
Sure. I recall that's the first time you and I met, and at that site, on that site walk, and we did took a lot of investigation prior to approving that. So, all right, no updates on those items. How about Spicer Gas? Here's a agenda item pending enforcement actions permit WAA 22033, Spicer Gas Inc. 299, formerly 0 Reardon Road, Assessors Map 65, Block 101, Lot 6. Letter sent on failing erosion and sediment controls and need for stormwater basin construction schedule.
So this project was approved phase 1 with a hypothetical phase 2. The stormwater basin was supposed to be built to a standard that could accommodate both phases. It was not built to that standard. Marla and I had been out to the site and witnessed some failure in the erosion and sediment controls, and that the basin wasn't constructed per the plan. But a stormwater basin could accommodate current site conditions. And we requested that the owner submit an as-built drawing to reflect what was actually built, with the understanding that if phase 2 were to ever become less than hypothetical, that they would need to improve the stormwater basin to a standard that could accommodate it. So Daniel Blanchette produced an as-built drawing, and I believe it's part of this document, perhaps on the next slide.
There it is. You have it, yeah, 102.
So going forward, the property owner knows what they have, and that hypothetical phase 2, that this plan supersedes what was presented regarding the stormwater basin, and that phase 2 would probably have to see an improvement of the stormwater basin to accommodate the new site conditions. The ENS has held up satisfactorily since Marla and I've pressed this issue, but I've communicated with Daniel Blanchette and Mr. Cummings. I think he's the project manager for Spicer, our point person in contact, that I will periodically meet on site to see the function of this basin, and that it's still up to par and meets the needs of the current site conditions.
Is there a current tank at this site?
I'm sorry, you broke up there.
Is there a tank currently at this site, or a container, or
Yes,
storage?
there's a tank on site.
A large tank? I seem to recall, driving by and looking out and seeing it. I just want to make sure this is the same place that, all right. And above it is, to the north of it is the,
There's conservation
staging.
easements.
Yeah, and the staging above that is is that a gravel, or not a gravel, but a stone shipping place, maybe? What's to the north?
Yeah, oh yes, that's the stone sales.
Right. They're like pallets of sorting and consolidating. I'm not sure what, gravel, not gravel, but stone, dimension stone or something, sales and, okay. So this fence is this area here is failing, is what you're telling us, right? This area here, this fencing, stuff here.
So
that what's
that's the clearing limit.
Yeah.
And the
I'm trying to
ENS.
understand it.
So at the top of the slope of the site, yes, the ENS wasn't towed in appropriately.
Oh.
And the basin wasn't constructed per the original approved design.
Huh.
It was under constructed in a way. The prescription that Marla offered and they met with us with was a large amount of wood chip, and that seems to have handled any kind of runoff that was occurring.
Okay.
But I requested, there was multiple reasons for requesting this as-built, one of which was also to make sure that the conservation easements, which were a condition of approval, were installed and depicted on a plan. And that was one way of, this as-built was one way of making sure that got accomplished, because those conditions were to be met prior to the commencement of phase 2.
Right.
So if phase 2 never happened, the conditions possibly could have never been met. So that's kind of a learning experience for me to see how something open-ended could kind of never be accomplished.
Nail it down, yeah. All right. Commissioners, any questions for our inland wetlands agent regarding this tank distribution storage? Okay, hearing none, we're gonna move on to the next item. Other business. Proposed meeting dates.
This is the time of year where the clerk has requested that commissions form their calendar for the next year. Gloria and I have ran through these dates to make sure there are no conflict with federal holidays or town closures. Every one of our dates meets our second Tuesday as we announce. And there shouldn't be conflicts with other commissions if they keep their schedules.
Aha. Well, we certainly don't want a repeat of this evening. So, although given that there's 30 meetings or close to 30 meetings a month in this town, it's not unusual for perhaps some folks to overlap in error, not intentionally. So do we have to vote on this now? Can we wait until next month?
I'd prefer to get it off the table, but I think we're early. We're in October on it. That if we accomplish this, at least at our November meeting, that we're still good to go.
All right. I just like to run against my schedule. I
Sure.
travel a fair amount these days, and I typically try to keep out. If not, of course, Commissioner Obert's ready, willing, and ready to jump in there and take over. So I'm all
I
set.
just wondered, don't we have to post the meeting for the site walks?
So I think the commission removed that from their bylaws, that it was
Okay.
a standing meeting.
There you go.
I think there was only sometimes maybe 3 in a year, and then most of the site walks would be canceled. So there was a procedural efficiency and
The administrative burden was removed, I guess, is what we were
Yes.
saying now. But we do add them. We do have to advertise them with X days, 5 days notice or something for
Yes.
sidewalks. So when we do have them, we give adequate notice. I think it's
And
how we
there-
came to rest on that. Commissioner
we
Obert?
noticed them as a special meeting.
I move that we approve this calendar as it shows. It is the second Tuesday of each
Okay.
month.
Do we have a second?
Doesn't conflict with holidays. Or election day? No.
Do we have a second?
I thought George had to look at his calendar.
Yeah,
Well,
agree.
I mean, I'm not the,
Oh,
I mean,
it is the
I
second.
don't want to hold up everybody. If you're all good with it, I mean, I just might not show up. That's okay. Don't, I mean, if you, look, it's a vote, right? And this is a democratic process. And, you know, I mean, I don't see anything that jumps out at me. And if, you know what, if it turns out my schedule doesn't work, no worries. I'll just, you know, we'll have.
Okay, then I'll
If these
second it.
dates,
I covered once.
if one of these dates becomes inconvenient, we could always
Amend it.
notice a cancellation and hold a special meeting.
Yeah. Well, with Zoom, it makes it easier to show up. So that's a plus. If I happen to be in Florida sometime, then that's all. I'll just dial in. All right. So I think I have a motion and a second. Did I hear a second?
Yeah, Commissioner Chapin, I second it.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Yeah. I think we can, if there's something that comes up, I'm sure we can work around it. And therefore, let's have a vote. Commissioner Obert? You're on mute.
I beg your pardon. I said aye and then I
Oh.
went to you.
I'm sorry. I just wasn't paying attention. My error. Thank you, Commissioner Chapin,
Aye.
Commissioner Morano,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Neill. Aye. Sometimes on the voices on these things, because of there's a latency in the transmission, so that's probably why I didn't pick it up, or I didn't understand it to be articulated as a aye. All right. So we'll accept these, submit them in, Dan, and we'll move on.
Thank you.
Okay, second opportunity for citizens' comments on agenda items. Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. Reports. Budget and expenditures.
Okay, it's Commissioner Chapin. I have the inland wetlands, July 1st through September 28th, 23. We have an available budget of $22,358.45, and we have expended 20.1% of our budget.
Thank you, Commissioner Chapin. Does that include payroll, or is that separate and apart from the payroll?
No, I believe it includes the payroll.
Okay, just wondered.
Yeah.
And
Great,
the
thank you.
recording secretary, expenses,
Expenses.
advertising.
All that good stuff. All right. Well, seems like we're on track based on time frames here. Wetlands agent report.
I've reviewed 15 permits through our permit link software, building permits. 11 of which are outside of any regulated review area. 4 of those were work approved under wetlands permits. Those were Barbara Roach, Michael Vandy, and Thomas Dolan. And then Mark Simon's property on Bula Road was approved through the commission as a individual permit. There was one property that was outside of Upland, but I requested that they install ENS such as a silt fence or a straw wattle. Just because of the contours of the property and the proximity. I don't think, and I asked them to limit their vehicular traffic in that area. But I've got more permits in the queue. As they got me hooked up with Permit Link, I've been able to work with that software in other towns. So it's pretty straightforward, and our building office runs it pretty efficiently. Enforcement, there's matters that have been logged that I've been looking at, but I haven't offered any formal notice of violation. One particular property on Hill Road contains wetlands and a conservation easement, and I noticed while working on the reviewing my conservation easement list that some clearing had occurred in this conservation easement, which also happens to be a wetland on our town mapping. So I issued an inquiry letter to the Cleary family on Hill Road 11 days ago via certified mail. I still don't have any acknowledgement of return receipt on that or communication from the Clearys, but my next step is to see put eyes on the area that I saw clearing and see if there's been any further work. But I intend to at least have a conversation with the Clearys to determine or get clear, no pun intended, about what the restrictions in that area are from a conservation point and from a wetlands permitting. So it's kind of an ongoing process. There's still complaints that I'm trying to substantiate. One particular on Reardon Road that I'm trying to ascertain all the facts of it, but the church for their cemetery has been removing some of the spoils of the areas that they turn into cemetery and depositing it on Reardon Road in wetlands, but they had prior approval to do so, but at a time when the upland review area was only 50 feet. So it's kind of a little bit to unpack with that one. And the complaints that I've received on that have been anonymous. Not that getting to this straightened out isn't a priority, but I don't really have an opportunity to communicate what I'm working on with that to the complainant.
Go ahead, keep going.
Next month, I'd like to get to a format of a written report for the commission, and I kind of only did a verbal based on what I've seen from the last couple meetings on how Marla's presented. But a written format is kind of easier for me to keep all my thoughts in line. But that's all I have to report. We are actually, one item, we experienced technical difficulties tonight with the Zoom, but there are also technical difficulties with my email for both my conservation and wetlands account. We have a new email antivirus filter that has been sending some of my emails to the junk folders. So until I've lost a little bit of sleep on what I might have sent to somebody important that has not, gone to the junk folder. So if members could just maybe keep an eye on their junk folders every now and then for correspondence from the town of Thompson, just in case while we try to work that out with IT. And I think it segues kind of into a piece of, we can move on to the correspondence that we received from Deep
I have a couple, is this part of your report or is this separate?
I was gonna raise that, but Deep has asked the company that has been producing the report for the property owner to finally cough up those reports, and that the letter, we were CC'd on that letter from Deep to GZA, the contractor there. And as soon as I have any kind of CC from GZA with those reports, I'll pass them to commissioners. This is a high hazard dam. It's Marla's been following this, and it was on her list for a long time to accomplish some action on this, and Deep finally seems to be pushing a little bit to get compliance in some way, shape, or form with that dam and with the property owner.
Okay, well, dams certainly are important. Thanks for that clarification. Go back to your report, Reardon Road. I mean, if you observe it as the inland wetlands agent, does it constitute a report, or do you have to have a third party report it?
If to proceed with a violation or
yeah, if you drive down the road and you look over and say, oh my gosh, they're filling in the wetlands.
Yeah,
you can take action as the agent, right?
I could take action with the Reardon Road one. I'm trying to understand what the church was approved to do. Because it seems like they were approved to dump material in the area where they're dumping material, but it was at a time when there was a different upland review area of 50 feet.
Did you talk with the church, and would it be appropriate?
Mr. DeRozier, I'm not sure which Mr. DeRozier first name, but he does cemetery maintenance for St. Joseph's Cemetery. Has been in the office a few times when Marla was there to kind of say, hey, this is what you told us we can do. And but I'm still trying to sort it out. I don't think we had any kind of, but Charlie might have some insight on that one.
Commissioner Obert, you have a comment?
It's very important for us to have forensic evidence, something that could be presented in court. And sure. If a resident of the town says, oh, I had permission to do this.
Yeah.
Well, we still have a responsibility to make sure that damage doesn't happen.
Sure.
And if a person has an application, just like the ones we transferred tonight, the person that gets the application isn't the one who made the first request for it. And it's very difficult with our staffing and budget to be able to track whether or not somebody decides, hey, I'm going to do what I want to do. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, well.
And it really is, yeah, they might have gotten permission in 1945. Things like that happen, and we need to be thinking in terms of, as any good business would, what are our exposures if we do something wrong? And how can we prove that we're doing our best to do the right things?
Good points, Commissioner Obert. You bring that up only because I think this week I just noticed the same thing. So that Reardon Road matter. I said, I don't remember seeing, I just mentally didn't notice it. But another point you raise is, have they always been doing it? I just didn't notice it. Was it previously approved? I mean, I don't walk around with a case log of every single event that's took place in the last, 50 years. And with regard, that's one question. The second had to do with the Cleary matter. Is that something that you noticed when you just drove by, or was that reported?
That was reported. The building office reported that one to me, and I was the first thing you do is you pull up our town GIS,
right.
Put on the wetlands filter. It's not totally accurate, but if it is shaded, it's and it's an obvious situation. It's adjacent to Wyndham Land Trust property.
Right.
And when there's a matter like that, I cross-referenced my conservation easement list, and within a few moments of the report, I was able to see that it was wetlands, it was easement, and on my way home, I drove by it and saw it. And
Does it appear to be a serious intrusion into the wetlands, or does it seem like some, the landowners just trying to clean up their property? I guess I want to get a feeling.
Kind of looks like they're
digging a big, doing a big excavation, or they just kind of clean up the brush.
cleaning it up, but
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty striking to see that they've cleared a lot of vegetation, and I don't know if that's what it looks like after you really clear out some of the
thick brush.
Yeah. But it's something that I think they should have inquired with the office, what is within the scope of the activities allowed in the wetlands, and what's allowed with in the easement language.
Sure. Okay, so it's not like an apparent egregious event, but it's something that's going on that guidance should be given so that they don't overstep. Okay, I just want to get an idea of that, what was going on there. And the other two, that Reardon Road thing, I mean, I want to say in the last 2 weeks I've noticed that. So I'm like, it's always been there. I just didn't notice it, or was it something that, it seems like it's growing though. It seems to have grown.
Yeah, that's my read on it. Now, I am working from memory, just overhearing what was Mr. DeRozier and Marla were discussing related to the complaints that she received about this. And I did see a site plan with a 50-foot upland review delineation depicted, and seemingly some kind of approval to deposit materials from what was excavated for the cemetery in that location. So
give you the facts, get all the facts before you start
exactly.
making
Yeah.
So this is Mr. DeRozier Senior, who would be certainly has 10 or 15 years on me, probably, I guess. There's a number of Mr. DeRoziers in town that are all in that work. All right. Sorry to delay this further. I just wanted to clarify those 2 points. I don't know if we had a serious matter. That one, I wasn't sure what it was, and they probably drew the same conclusion you guys. They probably have permits for that, but I wanted to bring it up, but you brought it up before I did. All right. So moving on to the next item, if there are any. What else do we have here? Anything left? We talked about Mylars, non-agenda items, comments by commissioners. Commissioner Obert, your mute is on.
I've said it a couple of times this evening, and that has to do with us utilizing our resources of staffing, of networking, of the history that we share of the town, but of documenting it in a way that serves several purposes for the inventory of the town. When an issue comes up on town land or on land trust land, or we see things that are against the regulations, but people don't seem to be concerned about the regulations. So it's like we're trying to hang wallpaper in a windy room with only one arm. We've got a really tough job to do. And the character of this town is on a fragile balance right now. I say that as somebody who studied sociology extensively. We are doing some good things. Not everybody that is investing in this town is interested in the character of the town and of the environmental health, of the ecology of the town. So we've got the chance to do it, but we just have to make sure that people aren't taking advantage of what little authority we really have, what little influence we truly can offer.
I
We're
think,
going to be discovering a lot of bumps in the road, not just because of the way that the electronic meeting set up tonight, and it was our first meeting without Marla, and interfacing systems and doing new things the first time is rarely without a bump in the road. But I think we addressed what we needed to tonight. I wonder, oh, by the way, the conservation easement on the solar panels, I mean, can we ask them to open up that trail network up there? I don't know.
you mean within the solar panel area?
Around the solar panels, there's some pretty nice trails up there. There's some pretty nice area up there.
Is that for
I
the
was
Trails Committee?
surprised.
Is that a Trails Committee question?
That's a
Maybe.
question from a commissioner. Comment from the, how
I
much
could-
influence do we have when we're looking at? They have a responsibility to provide a conservation easement. Can we help to design it? And that's a question for Dan.
Is that, yeah, Conservation Commission then?
Yeah, I haven't been able in any new conservation easement initiatives. My understanding is it's a product, it's an open space requirement possibly
It is.
on the planning and zoning side of it. The problem here is what's their phase two? Is that going to eat up?
Phase two doesn't go where those trails are.
Yeah.
Remember the commode in the woods?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of very costly and effectively installed tree stands up there.
It is hunting season. Yeah.
We were up there without orange.
Well, okay.
Charlie, I'll talk with Tira tomorrow to see what kind of influence we might be able to have over an open space set aside.
Well, they have to set aside some land, like that Spicer gas, or the people that are putting in the storage space on Reardon Road.
So the conservation easements were already in existence over there on both of those.
They were,
So,
but
Yeah.
so now we got a new one.
so this comes into planning and zoning then is what you're suggesting, Commissioner Overton.
I'm interested in that inventory you mentioned, which
Yep.
drew your attention to Reardon Road.
Okay.
So,
Great.
talk more.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Drive
All
safely.
right, any other commissioners have comments? Diane or?
Yeah, I'm just confused why this person would have to do a conservation easement if he's putting solar panels on his own property.
Yeah. And wouldn't that fall properly in the domain of, I guess Commissioner Overton might be suggesting that, it's a quid pro quo. You want a permit, then if the town's gonna give you a permit, they want something in return, but I don't know if it's an
Yeah, you
obligation.
know what, that,
Not
for me, that doesn't
exactly.
fly. If this is private property and he's asking for something to be allowed on his private property, if I put something on my private property, I'm not inviting you over. You know what I mean? Sorry.
That's a
Whether you
valid
like the
point.
trails or
That's a
not.
valid point. That's a valid point.
So
Well, yeah, for me, it isn't.
preliminarily, there's supposed to be in phase two, 78 detached units to the east of the solar field between 962 Riverside Road and the solar field. I think depending on how if there's a large subdivision here, then an open space set aside may be a requirement for planning and zoning related to the housing units.
Right.
I don't know if it's applicable and I don't believe it's applicable for the solar field project for planning and zoning to require the open space set aside. But depending on how the 78 detached units are presented, there might be a planning and zoning avenue for an open space set aside.
Great. Well, I guess we'll let planning and zoning take a look at that. How about Woodland Wetlands? Any other comments by commissioners? All right, I hear none. I'm gonna make mine is, I guess the moral of the story is, say, if you see something, say something. Let's not assume everyone has permits, but at the same time, there's that also carries with it its own set of responsibilities and risks. So with that, unless there's anything else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Hearing no, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. This commission is adjourned for this evening at 9:24 p.m. Thank you everyone for working through this with us and all the challenges we've encountered. And I look forward to chatting with everyone next month. And Dan, you can always give me a call and when I have that thing ready to be signed. I'm assuming it's in such a condition that I can just come over and sign it. I also have to stop this thing. So let me stop let me find the stop button on this permit. Okay, it's up here.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Let me find the recording stop button. Recording, yes, stop.